grizzly bear, wolverine, fisher, lynx, and river otter. Sounds like a list of iconic wildlife that Albertans love, but it's actually a list of animals featured in the 2024 hunting regulations with increased tag limits or even no limits. Sustainable hunting regulations are based on data that defines how many individuals can be removed from a population without impacting it. But the aforementioned hunting increases actually go against the current science. If the Minister of Forestry and Parks isn't listening to science or experts to inform wildlife management and hunting limits, who is he listening to?
The Honourable the Minister of Forestry and Parks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thanks for the question. Of course, we have many professionals within the government, biologists that have great educations that are specialized in making these decisions and coming up with these this data that we base our decisions on moving forward. And so, Mr. Speaker, I think it's kind of amusing, I guess, that the honourable member would suggest that the people that we have working in government, the biologists, the educated people, are not doing their job. And again, we're doing the management that needs to be done in this province, and we're doing it in a responsible way.
The honourable member for Banff-Kananaskis.
Given that the new Alberta Nature Strategy is meant to recognize and communicate the importance of biodiversity and respond to a global biodiversity crisis, given that this inherently entails recovering species at risk like wolverines, fisher, and grizzly bears, given that reducing human-caused mortality is foundational to recovering any species at risk, given that the Minister of Environment and Protected Areas is charged with protecting species at risk, how can the Minister sign off on increased hunting of these threatened species and protect biodiversity at the same time?
The Honourable the Minister of Environment and Protected Areas.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I'm happy to speak to the great work that our department has been doing alongside the Department of Forestry and Parks to make sure that we get this right. It's why, Mr. Speaker, both our staff and the Minister were there when we hosted our in-person engagement for the Nature Strategy. It was the first time many of those folks had said that they had all been in the same room together having these very important conversations. Mr. Speaker, we'll continue to base our decisions on data, facts, and of course the recommendations of those who work in our department, but alongside those in the communities that we are elected to serve.
Honourable member for Banff-Kananaskis.
Given that Alberta's existing recovery plans for many species at risk are rarely funded, implemented, or monitored, given that the UCP's book on wildlife management has 3 chapters. 1, got an issue with Alberta Wildlife? Shoot it. 2, want a species mounted on your wall? Do it. Don't believe in science? Us neither. Given that we have one minister waging a war on wildlife and another minister too preoccupied with the war on the feds to actually protect the environment, given that Forestry and Parks isn't protecting species at risk and Environment and Protected Areas isn't either, who is?
Yeah.
The Honourable the Minister of Environment.
Mr. Speaker, what that member is putting forward is completely absurd. Budget 2024 allocated $6.4 million to support species at risk programs and activities. That includes, Mr. Speaker, critical funding to continue implementing recovery plans for native trout, woodland caribou, bats, peregrine falcons, and other species at risk. Mr. Speaker, $34.5 million is allocated for caribou recovery as well in 24-25. Since 2019, we've seen $15 million in funding and in-kind support to recover native trout, $2.6 million in helping recover the greater sage grouse. Mr. Speaker, we'll continue to work with Forestry and Parks on this.